So hey everyone, in this video we are going to set up Google Fonts in our Next.js application. Okay, so we right now can go to Google fonts.google.com. So you will see an interface like this where you can select any of the fonts which you desire to use in your application. So the font which I chose relevant to our application will be Rubik. Okay, so this is the font which I selected for this application. So usually what we would do is we would select the font, we will go to get font, and then we will try to embed this code within our CSS file or within the script tags, right? So this is actually not what we are going to do, and I'll come back to why we aren't using this approach. So the approach which we will be using is using Next.js fonts. Okay, so Next.js itself has its own Google fonts. Okay, so that is also like from Google. Only thing is, it instead of relying on Google servers to get the fonts, so we will be using Next.js fonts. When we build the application, it will download the Google font and it will use that font itself instead of the browser making another request. So whenever we visit the landing page along with the HTML files, it will also make a request to Google servers, right? So which is actually not efficient, and what Next.js does is it will download all your Google fonts and then use that instead of making a request to Google servers. Okay, which makes it more efficient, and that's what we are actually going to do. Okay, so going back to our code, let's create a folder called fonts. Okay, so this is not that important, you can call it anything, and create a index.ts file, and over here we are going to import from Google Fonts. Okay, so from next/fonts/google. Okay, so this is how we need to do. So the font which we will be using is the Rubik. So this should be font/google, and we are going to import Rubik. Okay, you also get some suggestions, by the way. So what are all the fonts that you can use, and only thing is we are going to export a variable that will invoke this Rubik Next.js font. Okay, so we can just call this export const Rubik and set this equal to this Rubik. Okay, and we just need to call this like so, and we just exported that variable, and we need to import this wherever we are actually using the font. Okay, so we want to use this font to our entire application. So the ideal approach is we can go to the layout.tsx and then import the Rubik font and then use it in the entire application. Okay, so let's do that. So let's go to our app and find our layout.tsx, and over here let us import the font. So import Rubik. So this is a named export, by the way, and that should be coming from @/fonts. Okay, so this is the import alias that we are using, and right now within the body tag of our application we can just replace this inter.classname with our Rubik.classname. Okay, so we can just use a Rubik.classname. Okay, so we get that inserted without any errors, and we can just delete this, which is default font that Next.js uses for every application within our boilerplate code, and also we can delete the actual import. Okay, so once that's done, we can just go to our application and just see are we actually getting the font or not. Okay, so one thing I forgot to do is to mention the subsets for the font that we are using. Okay, so that's the error that I'm getting right now. So we can just go back and we can just set the appropriate subset, that is Latin. Okay, so that is the English language, and also you can select any one of this if you are using it in a different language. Okay, so we can just go back to our application, and within the index.ts we can just provide a subsets property in an object. Okay, and this is going to be Latin, so basically English. Okay, so you get some suggestions and Latin like so, and once you save that we can just go back and this error should be gone, right? So let's wait for it. Yeah, there we go, and you see the font that has actually been applied to our entire application. Okay, so yeah, so that's working. And let me just talk about why do we actually need to use Next.js fonts. Okay, so whenever we build our application, like using npm run build, which I'll actually show you, we will actually be using from our this .next folder, which is our static assets for our application. And whenever our application builds, it will fetch from this folder. Okay, so we can just try to do that. Okay, so let me just do a npm run build. Okay, so this will create an optimized production build, as you see, and this will go ahead and collect all the files from our application, and it will create static assets basically. Okay, so I can also show you that once it's complete. So there are some static pages, there are some dynamic pages as well, which I will come to that in some other video. Okay, so I'll also be explaining you what does these actually mean. So now our application is successfully built, and to run the production version of our application, we need to run npm run start or just npm start. So this will run the production version of our application. Okay, so if I just go to the localhost 3000, you see the same thing. Okay, but the only thing is this is running the production version of our application. So now if I just show you something, if I go to the network tab and just try to refresh. So now if we go to the network tab, okay, you should see a request made for the font. Okay, this will come under the type font, which is a WOF2 file. Okay, so when you click on that, this is actually served from the Next.js static assets. Okay, so I'm not fetching from somewhere from Google servers, right? So that is the reason why we are using Next.js fonts, so that it is completely independent on Google servers, right? So so you can also use Google servers, that is not a problem, like but this is more efficient. So that's what I just wanted to say in this video. All right, and when you go to the elements tab, you should also see that this particular class name within the body tag of like class name Rubik, that has been applied. Okay, so this is also like having some weird class name. So Next.js internally uses its own class names, which we don't have to care about. And yeah, so if I just disable this, you see that it is using the default font. So this is all about Next.js fonts. Okay, so I hope this video could help you understand the differences by using importing Google fonts like from Google servers and using actual Next.js fonts. Okay, so this is all for this video. So in the next video, we will understand how exactly the image, Next.js image actually works, and then we will start moving ahead with this application. Okay, so I just wanted to clear these two things out of our way, so that we do not stumble upon coming across these things in between. Okay, so when we get stuck, so that I have to again explain you all about that, right? So let's meet in the next video.